and MS surgery from Government Medical College in Aurangabad, and also his 4-year residency at Tata Memorial Hospital at Mumbai in 1995. He also had his 1-year fellowship at the University of Maryland, Baltimore on lung cancer and VATS. Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh was associated with Barshi Cancer Hospital, also known as the Nargis Das Memorial Hospital, for about a year and a half, where he was the coordinator for some period for cervical cancer programs. He started his practice in Pune in 1997 and was attached to the Ruby Hall Clinic. And he is currently the director of oncology and head of the Department of Surgical Oncology and teacher for Surgical Oncology program for DNB. He formed a trust, Narasimha Saraswati Medical Foundation, in 2003 when he got a donation of about 3 acres of land. And he has been running the Indrayani Hospital Cancer Institute since 2007. At this hospital, they have a comprehensive center for treatment of cancer for the underprivileged, and he keeps on updating his services constantly. Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh is also a founder member of the Obesity Society of India, Pune Oncology Group, and he was the president of Pune Surgical Society and director of Association of Breast Surgeons of India. He's also a member of the Medical Association of different groups. Dr. Sanjay has, to his credit, almost 30 publications in peer-reviewed journals, and he's most proud of the recent publication in the Journal of Surgical Oncology, which is titled as The Impact of Pandemic on Cancer Care, Lessons Learned from a Rural Cancer Center for the First 3 Months. With this introduction, I hand it over to you, Brad. Please take over.
दीपक, थैंक यू। सबसे पहले तो सभी दोस्तों को हैप्पी फ्रेंडशिप डे, मित्रता दिवस की सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। डॉक्टर संजय, यू आर पार्ट ऑफ दिस फैमिली, सो very happy friendship day to you as well.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking time to join us today.
Thank you. Wish you all the same. Wish you all the same. Thank you.
डॉक्टर साहब, कैंसर एक तो हिंदी फिल्मों की वजह से भी कुछ हद तक और वैसे भी एक बहुत ही डरावना शब्द है। मतलब कैंसर सुनते ही एक दिल में थोड़ी सी धड़कन बढ़ जाती है लोगों को बहुत, और in many ways it is true also. I mean, it has been dramatized a lot, but it is also a very serious matter. Can you tell us more about what causes cancer? What are the root causes of cancer, and what are the different types of cancers that we need to be all aware of?
I'll first thank you and all other founder members of this Vishwa Manthan group. I feel I'm honored to be part of this family. This is one of the very great family. I had a very beautiful experience when I visited Shanghai. I actually I knew Amit because of my wife Sonali's friend's brother Amit. And I didn't know that I'll really come across with such a beautiful group of people who are so enthusiastic about everything in life. I met Samir, I met Pradyumna, I met Dr. Hegde, I met a lot of other people also there, and I was really been overwhelmed by the warmth which all of you gave me in Shanghai. And मुझे ये महसूस हुआ कि एक जो हमेशा मैं देखता था, because मेरी wife actually she had spent her childhood as in Bahrain with her father. So I know what actually most of the people who are out of India feel like and how they want to be connected with the motherland. So एक जो फीलिंग है जो हमेशा होती है कि ये कुछ तो हमें करना है एक, और दूसरी चीज ये होती है कि क्या करने के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं। इसके लिए ये सबसे बहुत ही अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है विश्व मंथन ग्रुप, which is I feel will must have had lot of other things which are in their program, but I feel fortunate to be part of this group. So just to start with, actually, when I came to Shanghai, I had been there I had been to Shanghai for one very important part of my training. Now, since you all must be looking at my white hair and thinking that इसको अभी भी training लगता है, but yes, medicine is like that. You need to keep on updating, and in all fields of most of the fields of life, if you want to keep on working, आपको काम करना है तो आपको हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ तो सीखना जरूरी है. और उसी के कारण मैं शंघाई आया था. और शंघाई में मुझे एक चीज ध्यान में आई कि शंघाई ये ना ही चाइना, ये जो हमारा जो रूटीन जो अपनी जो धारणा है यहाँ पे इंडिया में कि चाइना एक कंट्री अलग है, उसकी वजह से कम्प्लीटली अलग है, काफ़ी डेवलप्ड है. बहुत सारी चीज़ें हम सीख सकते हैं और बहुत सारी चीज़ें इजीली हम उनकी इम्यूलेट कर सकते हैं, एंड वी कैन गो फॉरवर्ड. Just this is a little deviation from actually what you asked, but yes, I actually coming back to the topic, I am a cancer surgeon, so I have had my complete career developed as an oncologist. Now, in oncology, there are generally three parts. I am surgical oncologist. I am a surgeon who operates most of the operable cancers. Now, in cancer generally just broadly हम divide करते हैं कि कोई organ का cancer होता है उसको solid tumors बोलते हैं, और जो blood के cancers होते हैं उसको blood cancers बोलते हैं. So it's a solid tumors and blood cancers. So cancer now, ये एक बात तो काफी हद तक प्रूव हो चुकी है कि कोई भी कैंसर ये अपने दो टाइप के चेंजेस में होता है. एक होता है जेनेटिक चेंज और एक होता है दूसरा होता है सोमैटिक चेंज. सो जैसे कि समझो अगर एक आधा, और उसमें 80-90% of time some kind of change when you are actually you are coming to this world, that change is actually makes you vulnerable for that cancer. Now this anomaly or that change will sometime come or may not come. Like probably a smoker, sometimes you see a smoker who is smoking till glory till 80 years and he's smoking 20-40 cigarettes and he doesn't have a cancer, and somebody who is not smoking and he has a cancer at the age of 50 because he had that kind of change, genetic change in his body when he was born, and that progressed to the cancer. Now, the understanding of cancer is to quite a bit level that we know that 50% of lung cancers are actually, in India particularly, are due to changes not because of smoking, they are because of the genetic changes. So, cancer ये एक हद तक genetically determined disease होता है. ये हमको बहुत अच्छी से समझना है कि जेनेटिक एंड हेरिडिटरी ये अलग अलग शब्द हैं. जो जेनेटिक मैं बोल रहा हूं उसका मतलब ये नहीं होता है कि वो अनुवंशिक है. अनुवंशिकता ये अलग है और जेनेटिक चेंज अलग है. सो ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर कैंसर के बारे में, अनुवंशिक कैंसर्स के बारे में बोला जाए तो ऑलमोस्ट सिर्फ 5% to 7%, 5 to 7% cancers are hereditary. Like most of the people will think that ki agar, particularly this is very common in women, that if they have cancer, because most of the women, particularly Indian women, think that all family is on them, and they do not think that their thing comes at first, and they will, particularly when the diseases come, they think that अभी मेरी बेटी की शादी कैसे होगी, मेरी बेटी तो लोग बोलेंगे कि अरे इसको ये है तो शायद उसकी बेटी को वो होगा. तो ये जो है हमारे दिमाग में वो गलतफहमियां हैं. It is a misconceptions, so that we need to get out. I feel I give little more elaborate answer.
नहीं, very detailed, Dr. Saab. So if I understood, there is a solid cancer
Am I
and
audible well?
blood cancer. So
क्या मेरी आवाज अच्छी से सुनाई दे रही है?
बिल्कुल loud and clear. बिल्कुल आप दिख भी अच्छे रहे हैं और सुनाई तो और भी अच्छे रह रहे हैं. So नया लैपटॉप is worth it. पास हो गया नया लैपटॉप.
Yes.
तो मैं I'll just summarize quickly. तो दो टाइप के आपने कैंसर बताए, सॉलिड कैंसर्स बताए और ब्लड कैंसर बताया. आपने ये बताया कि जेनेटिक कैंसर हो सकता है और सोमैटिक हो सकता है, और जेनेटिक और हेरिडिटरी में फर्क है.
Correct. Correct.
Is that understanding right?
Clear.
Wonderful.
Clear.
डॉक्टर साहब, आपने एक शुरुआत में बहुत अच्छी चीज कही कि ये भारतीय लोगों में कुछ कैंसर है जो 50% कुड बी हेरिडिटरी. किस टाइप के कैंसर जो हैं वो इंडियन पॉपुलेशन और इंडियन जीन्स और इंडियन रेस इज मोर ससेप्टेबल टू, किसको ज्यादा चांसेस हैं किस तरीके के, और क्या चांसेस हैं? व्हाट इज द, यू सेड देयर आर percentage of people, number of people who get certain type of cancer, but what are the chances of one getting cancer? Is that changing with the change in lifestyle or changes in the way we live?
We keep on saying this. हम ये हमेशा बोलते हैं कि बहुत कैंसर बढ़ रहा है, बहुत कैंसर बढ़ रहा है, और ये बहुत ही commonly, like any discussion which goes around, if you are in any group, you are actually quickly will people will say, अरे यार आजकल बहुत कैंसर बढ़ रहा है. See, what happens is that there are a lot of things for this kind of feeling. मैं ये पहली बात तो बोलना चाहता हूँ कि कैंसर का परसेंटेज बहुत ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ा है. It is 0.001%. So that is what is the percentage of cancer in a population. So जैसे कि कोई भी अगर टाइम लिया जाए तो अराउंड 10 से 12 लाख लोगों को इंडिया में कैंसर हो सकता है हर साल. So almost around 16 to 18 lakh cancer patients. Now, but आप ये देखिए कि इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन कितनी बड़ी है. So India is very populous country. In that context, it is not really high. So why do we feel? Why do we feel that there are cancers? One of the thing which is there is that we particularly as the Indians have been rather been conscious, becoming health conscious nowadays. And even a smallest kind of thing which comes in our place, we term it as cancer. So a lot of sort of so-called benign problems जो होते हैं जिसमें शायद कैंसर की संभावना नहीं होती, बट वो भी उसको ट्यूमर कहा जाता है. ट्यूमर में माने कि वो कैंसर होगा शायद, और वो उसको कैंसर में पकड़ा जाता है. दूसरी चीज ये होती है कि इंडिया में लॉन्जिविटी बढ़ रही है. सो वी आर एक्चुअली नाउ कमिंग to incidence of not really like Western population, but say Western average age of for a male is around, I feel is around 78 to 81. India is coming to 68. So we are bridging that gap. Like for at the time of independence, the average age of Indian male used to be around 45. So if you can look at the leap. And कितने सारे कैंसर्स ये हमारी 5th और 6th डिकेड में होते हैं. So most of the cancers in males and even women, they happen after 4th decade. So because it is what is as you will age more and more cancers will come your way, because that is the cost you are actually paying for having a longevity. So that is one of the reason why we are saying. नाउ ये एक और एक चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है जो अपने को ध्यान में रखनी है कि अपना इन स्पाइट ऑफ दिस इंडियन इंसिडेंस ऑफ टोटल इंसिडेंस ऑफ कैंसर्स ये वर्ल्ड के हिसाब से जस्ट आधे से थोड़ा कम है compared to like US. Even China is now should be considered as a developed world. Like I was actually, जब मैं शंघाई में था तभी मैंने बोला था कि per million there are around in China there are 400 lung cancers, and India there are some 26 or something like that. So it is very less. Lung cancer as such, or most of the cancers are quite less compared to the Western population, and it is okay. But at the same time, एक चीज है कि we have little bit of less health care. So we are not really doing our treatments very well. So we need to kind of address that issue. If we address that, then we should be a better off country than the rest of the world.
Right. तो डॉक्टर साहब 0.001% मतलब 10,000 में से एक व्यक्ति को
Yes, बराबर,
एक व्यक्ति है हिंदुस्तान में जिसको कैंसर है, और आपने बताया किसी भी समय पे 10 से 15 लाख के आसपास लोगों को कैंसर होता है. उसमें कुछ लोग ठीक होते हैं, कुछ लोग हर साल नए ऐड भी होते होंगे. आपने बोला कि चाइना के मुकाबले में हमारे यहाँ पे या दूसरे देशों के विकसित देशों के मुकाबले में कैंसर कम है. Is it anything to do with the lifestyle, or is it just luck by chance? जो कहते हैं it's the rule of life that we've been just lucky.
No,
Or both?
it is definitely yes. No. There has been very, very good studies on most of these issues. Like एक चीज है कि अपने हमको ये ध्यान में आया है कि जो population migrate हो जाती है, like people who migrate to United States or a developed world, they generally catch the incidence of that world. So it is not हमारे गुणसूत्रों में या जेनेटिकली हमारे जीन्स में शायद इतना प्रभाव नहीं है जितना हमारे देश में प्रभाव है. So maybe the Indian way of living is probably impacting onto this cancer incidence. So what is actually Indian way of living? Most likely what I feel is that in the lifestyle actually there is a lot of vegetarian diet, lot of roughage which we use. So this is probably one of the factor which is there compared to the Western world. But there are most of the other factors which are also there into this part of India, but not really very well understood. But again, this is again, like it is said that for the like junk food will have more and more kind of incidence of cancer. Again, that is also not really very clearly proven, but yes, definitely India has a less number of cancers compared to the rest of the world.
So are there any learnings from there, Dr. Sir, that we can take and say, okay, because we have some kind of an evidence or implied, if it's not empirical, it is implied that because of certain lifestyle leads to lower cancer. Are there certain lifestyles that we should embrace?
Yes, actually, we have this comes to the question that what actually prevents cancer? Like, is cancer कैसे prevent हो सकेगा? See, it is one thing which is very, very well proven is that a good exercise and a healthy lifestyle, which is with less number of emotional tensions and emotional pressures, with a good kind of a diet, definitely is known. Only these are the only known cancer preventing mechanisms which we have today. There is no other medicine, there is no other things which can really prevent cancer, particularly in people who are not really hereditarily inclined to the cancer diseases.
Okay, so good lifestyle. आपने जैसे कहा exercise कीजिए और stress कम रखिए.
Stress कम रखिए, अच्छा खाइए. Your meal should be good. You should have a good kind of square meal which will have all ingredients in your food, and that should be okay. No additional tablets or vitamins are really required, and they're not really being proven to prevent you from cancer.
मेरे ख्याल से ये ग्रुप उसके लिए परफेक्ट है डॉक्टर साहब, क्योंकि ये ग्रुप स्ट्रेस रिलीवर भी है हमारे सबके लिए. और अभी हमने कुछ पिछले 2-3 एपिसोड्स पहले हमारे पास में दो हमारे साथ में है. एक्चुअली डॉक्टर शालिनी सिंगल इज देयर. शी हेल्प्ड अस टू अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ गुड डाइट, एंड वी आल्सो हैड a very senior coach. I don't think Vikram is there today, but he helped, Vikram Kadam, he helped us to understand the importance of keeping fit and practicing yoga. और बाकी stress relief तो you have experienced first hand. when you were in Shanghai, you know, that friendship
Yes,
actually helped us to.
definitely, definitely.
Uh, so, Dr. Saab, moving from the prevention to the treatment, how important is the early detection and early treatment? And is what kinds of cancers are curable, and is that the timing something to do with it?
Yes, actually, this is like a very uh, known fact for a long time that if you detect early, obviously you will be able to treat them well, and you will treat them with less amount of problems. So obviously, if you cannot prevent, at least catch them early. Now, one of the thing which is there is a list of cancers which you should be able to monitor. Now, what is one of the very easiest and commonest detected cancer which can be prevented, or can be detected early, is colon cancer. Now, in a colon cancer, actually, you have to understand that colonic cancers are a little less number in India, but as abroad, there are very high number of cancers. It is almost third commonest cancer in the rest of the world. And a simple colonoscopy every 5 years after the age of 50, every 5 years, simple colonoscopy will pick up very early kind of nodules in the colon. And if that is a nodule, that can be picked up and very easily can be resected out. So before it can become cancerous, it can come out. Similarly, for women, cervical cancer is very common. So after the age of 30, they should have every year pap smear, which is very, very easy test, which any gynecologist will do on. And now, if you are after 65, you are sure that your last three pap smears are negative, you can now stop doing your pap smear. So that is also one of the thing. Again, uh, this is also very, very simple test. It does not require anything. You just require to go to doctor once in a year for women. And again, now the most common cancer in women is breast cancer. So there is little bit of बहुत सारा discussion जो है mammography का, ये थोड़ा सा uh, I can say it is very difficult for lay population rather. सबको समझना बहुत मुश्किल होता है क्योंकि कोई लोग मैमोग्राफी के अगेंस्ट बोलते हैं, कोई मैमोग्राफी के साथ बोलते हैं. तो मेरा कहना ये है कि definitely whenever you feel that you have some lump in breast at any age after 35-40, you should go and do a mammography. If you don't feel, and you're fine, otherwise fine. So what is really to be done? So I will say that at the age of 50, you can do one mammography as a baseline mammography. And after that, if there is nothing in that mammography, you can repeat one mammography after 3 years. Now, the recommendations for mammography are to do yearly. But those recommendations, as they were very strong, बहुत पहले ऐसा कहते थे कि 50 के बाद में हर साल मैमोग्राफी करो. तो ये हर साल मैमोग्राफी का जो रिकमेंडेशन था, वो थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स हो गया है. लोगों का कहना है कि शायद उससे बहुत ज़्यादा फायदा नहीं होता है. सो 2 yearly or 3 yearly you should do mammography. That is also enough. But yes, these are the few things which you can really do, and you can detect cancer very early. Now, to treat it very early, you need to also have to understand that any kind of incident, kind of small change in your behavior, very common behavioral change is like uh, suddenly, like just a few days back, yeah, just 4 days back, one my friend's friend came to me and he said that he's like very fit man doing exercise and all, and he said कि लॉकडाउन में एक देखा है कि मुझे 1 month back he felt he need to drink water in the night. उनको एकदम suddenly he gets like hiccup in the night, 3 o'clock every night, last 3-4 months, and he has to drink a glass of water, then he feels better. So there was a kind of एक low grade tumor था जो उनके stomach में था. So again, this is very, very curable thing. very easily detected, and you have a symptom which is troubling you, then go to your doctor and try and find out why it is really troubling you. So it's one of the way of trying to detect it early.
राइट.
Yeah.
तो इसके अलावा डॉक्टर साहब कोलोनोस्कोपी आपने बताया, मेमोग्राफी का बताया. इफ समथिंग इज बॉदरिंग यू शुड गो एंड एग्जामिन. अभी recently some of us went for annual checkups, so there are a lot of tests now recommended which help you with the cancer marker test कहते हैं इसको. How reliable they are and how frequently we should do that as well beyond the colonoscopy.
No, like see, one of the thing which I must tell you that ये जो routine health check है ना, ये this is completely it is a business, so it does not really have any kind of support, scientific support. Yes, you feel that you need to have, whenever you feel, particularly who people who are health conscious will always want to see their vitamin D level, or somebody feels that he's feeling a little lethargic, so he wants to do his thyroid levels. And your doctor, if he's suggesting you to do something, it is fine. But yes, the cancer package now, the recently what they have done is they have added the cancer package to it. It is absolutely of no use. Most of the cancer markers which they added, like for ovarian cancer, CA125 add kiya hai. For other cancers, they have added few other markers, but they are not really to be done. And yes, sometimes rather they create so much of anxiety that like I see so many people who have the CA125 raised by, say, it is double, like normal CA125 is 35, and they come with 70, and they feel that there is already completely diagnosed cancer. But you have to understand that marker does not mean that it is cancer. It is definitely not mean. It just means that it is raised, and most commonly it can be raised because of many other reasons which are not really cancerous. So it is just kind of one thing which say that acha acha kuch to hai. But again, it is not something to be done on your own. It is not to be done as a package. It is not really recommended to be done. Again, ये जो है, this is only for most common every one of us. People who are there, like somebody like किसी के hereditary cancers होते हैं, like somebody's mother has got a cancer, and some aunt has got cancer, breast, or somebody grandmother को कुछ uterus का cancer हुआ था. So they are in that group of hereditary cancer. उनके लिए there are very clear guidelines what they should do, what they should not do. Like हमने recently एंजेलिना जोली का सुना था. एंजेलिना जोली underwent bilateral mastectomy. She also underwent hysterectomy. She had a syndrome which is a very commonly known syndrome as a BRCA syndrome, breast cancer syndrome. This is a gene called as BRCA, BRCA, BRCA gene, and that gene actually gives hereditary cancers. Now, most common and lethal cancer in that is a ovarian cancer, not breast cancer. But everybody is generally worried about breast cancer, and that comes into more prominence. Even like now, it is proven that most commonly, even in those women, breast surgery may not really be needed as a prevention, because Angelina Jolie did a breast surgery as a preventive breast surgery. She did that was possibly overreaction from her, because she saw her mother dying of that cancer, and so, but it was not really a informed decision on her part. So there are things like in that class that the investigations are different. Those those people should have, like there are like multiple, like there are a lot of people who have colonic cancers in their family. But colonic cancer at what age? Like suppose if there are more than two relatives, first degree relatives, who have cancer below 50 or below 40, then that is really important. Like somebody is having a cancer, like my father, like this is actual this, my father had colon cancer at the age of 82. But that is does not mean that puts me into a hereditary group. So ये हमको बहुत अच्छी तरह से जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि अर्ली एज cancers actually will mean that you are in the hereditary. Again,
Fantastic.
if you feel that, you should do a genetic counseling. That is another thing.
Excellent. Dr. Sir, we have already a couple of very good questions on the chat. So Gajanan, our friend from Mumbai, he has a question that how does cancer spread through the body? Does it spread through the bloodstream, or is there another mechanism? And
No.
our other friend from is asking that if you can talk a little bit more about the bone cancer. Sanjeev Marathe from Bangalore, he's asking if you can talk about bone cancer.
Uh, I'll take first how cancer spreads, and then we'll talk about bone cancer. Now, cancer generally, see what actually means a cancer. Cancer means that, see, every cell has a computer, and that computer makes it. It has a auto death thing. Like every cell will be produced and it will die. Now, like all our skin keeps on changing. Every time a new skin layer will come up. That's how we remain actually younger, or rather better, because otherwise we cannot carry the same kind of things which keep on your family when you are born. So like our blood cells keep on changing. Now, when that computer in that cell goes crazy, and it does not die, it just refuses to die, because all that signals which makes it to the death at that certain phase of time, those are cut. And that when they are cut, then that cell becomes immortal, because it does not want to die, and it has its own way of trying to prevent its own death. So it keeps on multiplying. And when it is trying to multiply, it will need more and more kind of food to survive. So it will start encroaching onto other organs, and then it will start spreading. It will spread to first to the local tissue where it is. Like suppose it's a oral cancer, it will go into the inside to the oral cavity, the inner tissue. Then it will catch the lymphatics, lymph vessels, where the lymph nodes. Normally we get these lymph nodes enlarged when we have a throat infection, and those lymph nodes will get enlarged. Once it goes to the blood vessel, it will go into the blood vessel, and it will start spreading to another areas. So that is the way it spreads, and wherever it grows, it will again form its own colony and will start producing faster. It is again not a cell which is normal. It is very immature cell. It does not have lot of mechanism for survival, because it is not a very tough cell. It can die very fast. So any treatment like radiation or chemotherapy, which is actually normal cells will withstand with that treatment, it will not withstand, because it is not does not have most of the mechanisms. It is like a thing which has been produced out of very hurry, and it just wants to kind of replicate. So that is what is actually cancer and how it spreads. About bone cancer, bone cancers are 1% of all cancers in the body. What happens is that when we say bone cancers, most lot of people confuse bone cancers with blood cancers, because most of the blood is actually produced. Our bones are the factories. बोन के अंदर जो मैरो होता है, वहां पे हमारी ब्लड बनाने की फैक्ट्री है, वहां से ब्लड बनता है, और वो ब्लड स्ट्रीम में आके आके जाता है. सो most of the blood cancers can be called as kind of a bone cancer. But purely bone cancers, which are solid bone cancers, इतने ज़्यादा नहीं होते हैं परसेंटेज में, और छोटे बच्चों में ज़्यादा होते हैं, जैसे कि ऑस्टियोसार्कोमा, ये इविंग सार्कोमा. उसमें कुछ जो है जैसे इविंग सार्कोमा है, उसका क्योर रेट बहुत अच्छा है. एक बात इसमें बोलनी है कि पीडियाट्रिक कैंसर्स में क्योर रेट ऑलमोस्ट 80% है, बहुत अच्छा क्योर रेट है. Yeah, it's one of the very gratifying disease to treat, so that you feel very good. But yes, again they have other issues, because छोटे बच्चों में ट्रीटमेंट भी बहुत लंबी हो जाती है, तो ट्रीट करना भी बहुत काफी मुश्किल हो जाता है. But yes, those are
Right.
very good cancers to treat.
Right. So let's move to the treatment, जैसे आपने कहा, and we have couple of very interesting questions on the new treatments. So एक हमारे मित्र हैं आनंद देसाई, उन्होंने पूछा है कि CAR-T करके treatment है. We have heard about proton therapy. What are your views on that? And also, if you can share your thoughts on the alternative therapies, naturopathy है, आयुर्वेदिक है, या होम्योपैथी भी.
This
उसके
is
बारे में आप
yes, I'll touch on few things, and I'm sure that there will be more people in the audience who will know more than me, because most of you are technocrats and probably must be reading quite a lot. So आपको भी शायद काफी हद तक मुझसे भी ज्यादा मालूम होगा. जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ बहुत ही बेसिक जनरल नॉलेज बोल रहा हूँ. CAR-T is a immune therapy mainly. Is immune response which is being treated like you have your own treat. Like whenever like we have anything, like suppose हमको कुछ लगा कट हुआ, तो वो जो कट होने के बाद में infection होगा, वो that infection will trigger one response. It will go to your lymph nodes and body will quickly create a medicine for it. All medicines are created in our own body and those are very powerful. So that is basically our immune response to it. Sometimes the immune response can be very bad, like in a COVID, when we see COVID infection, there is a cytokine storm. That immune response इतना ज़्यादा हो जाता है कि दवा शायद डिसीज से ज़्यादा वर्स हो जाती है, और उसमें हम उसको इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स को सप्रेस करते हैं. We have a drug which is IL-6 inhibitor, जिससे वो response suppress हो जाता है. जैसे ही now in a cancer, because they are from your own cells, your immune system treats it as its own. It does not know that this is not really part of the body and it is not really it is to be eliminated. So to make it understand that, you have to get those tumor cells out and get your immune cells out and put your immune cells to the training, that tell them that this is what is the bad, and then put it back to your body. It is very simplified way of saying that. And then that immune system, once it knows that, oh, this is not really a good thing, they will just go after it and will kill it. There are very good immune therapy treatment which are coming over last 5 to 10 years, and they are quite successful. But we have to understand this कि प्राइमरी ट्रीटमेंट्स जो है, जो डिसीज पहले डिटेक्ट करने के बाद में जो हम किए जाते हैं, वो चेंज नहीं हुए हैं. हमको अभी भी अगर छोटा पहले अर्ली डिटेक्शन या उसको छोटा सर्जरी लगता होगा तो वो करना, ये इम्पोर्टेंट है. we are at this point of time using these treatments for diseases like who are spreaded diseases where we don't have much of other things left. But yes, all treatments will come in the same way, where first it is tried into advanced disease. Once it is proven that they work very well, then they are used into other diseases. Another question was of proton therapy, right? Was it proton?
Right.
Proton is basically it's a radiation treatment. Now, linear accelerator is a treatment which is being used where we use electrons to give a radiation therapy, and protons are other particles. The essential advantage with proton is that proton gets absorbed by the body and it does not leave your body. With traditional radiotherapy, the beam has to go out. Like suppose somebody has an oral cancer and suppose being treated, so it will go out from this side. So it will have more damage here, but when it's going out, it will damage something here. So important structures will have to be protected. Like radiation therapists will say that, spinal cord ko save karna hai. He will do some kind of planning, then there are computer modulations. So all that will be required to save other tissues which are very, very important. So that is less required in proton, because proton will go there and will stop and will finish off. So it is very, very useful in young kids. It is presently is to be used mainly for pediatric cancers. So obviously you can, if you have money, and you can use it for adult cancers also. It is very costly at this point of time, and I don't think that it really offers advantage over routine treatment at this point of time, because the radiation therapy which is given by standard means is equally good. But yes, as new technology comes, it will keep on maturing, and then it will give us good results.
Right. So, Dr. Saab, related to that was your views on alternative therapies, naturopathy ho gaya, ya homeopathy ho gaya.
Yes, see, the problem with alternative therapy is that like there are a lot of medicines which are really good, and a lot of people, most of the world, which will take our traditional medicines and will get some new medicines out of it. And we will say, अरे यार ये तो हमारा हल्दी से निकाला है टर्मरिक से निकाला हुआ है. Somebody will say, अरे ये तो आंवले से निकाला है. So we have to understand people do a lot of research on that, and they do not really come out like this. So that part is missing. What is this? Ayurvedic medicine is a very traditional, old, centuries old, probably many 1,000 years old therapy. Nothing has been done forward, and the way modern science actually functions is that you have to prove things. You have to prove things in a double randomized trial. Like हमने बोला है कि हमारा ये ड्रग अच्छा है, तो हमको ये प्रूव करना है कि हमने 100 लोगों को दिया, 100 लोगों को नहीं दिया, और 100 लोगों को बहुत अच्छा फायदा हुआ जिनको दिया, और वो रिजल्ट्स हमको पीयर रिव्यूड जर्नल में पब्लिश करने पड़ते हैं. सो वो नहीं हुआ है. सो what I will say generally is it is really of no use. Homeopathy is obviously is not a science. Don't consider this as a science. It has few tricks, but it is not really recommended. And unfortunately, over last 5 years, it has been promoted so rampantly for cancer patients. I do get patients who are with advanced cancer. They are on homeopathy. They are on Ayurvedic treatment. I feel it is wrong. It is actually there has to be some kind of price fixed to the people who are treating it, to the people who have early disease, and they actually give some false hope to these people. So it should not be done.
Sure. Fantastic. So, Dr. Saab, before we move to something which is very close to your heart, Indrayani Hospitals, I just wanted to share with you that one of our friends on the call today, Poonam, she is working with a project, a startup project in Nagpur, which can do early detection of cancers. So later on, she would connect with you to understand how she can help and collaborate,
Definitely.
get some help and advice from you as well. So let's talk about Indrayani. We were very lucky to hear that story from you. We were even more lucky thanks to Deepak Shinde, who helped us to coordinate that time that we could visit the hospital and see how inspirational that whole thing is. Can you tell us more about what inspired you to start that project and such an ambitious project?
It is actually, it is something which I'll keep on talking for hours. Actually, most of you who have been known to be, actually, it so happened that I came to Pune with a very clear this, that I am a consultant. I'm not going to form a hospital. My parents are doctors. They have a hospital, 25-bed hospital at Latur. And ये तो फिक्स था कि हॉस्पिटल नहीं करना है. लेकिन एक ऐसा हुआ कि जैसे मैंने एक पेशेंट को ट्रीट किया, उन्होंने बोला कि हमको आपको जगह देनी है 3 एकड़, वो एक ट्रस्ट की थी. तो हमने बोला कि चलो देखते हैं. Reluctantly, after 3-4 times, those people came and met me. This was around 16 years back, 2003, 17 years back, 2003. So हमने जाके देखा कि वो जगह ठीक है. I thought that कि maybe this is something which I should do. I don't know why I thought. And for a long time I regretted for doing thinking that, because it started one long journey for me. And initially it was quite hard because सबको ऐसा लगता है कि हम कुछ करें, लेकिन वो जो इनिशियल पार्ट होता है जिसको हम बनाते हैं, सो हमको ऐसा लगा कि शायद हमको कुछ खुद को करना चाहिए. जब हम जाते हैं किसी के पास, बोलते हैं कि आपको ऐसा करना है, तो ऑब्वियसली ये क्वेश्चन होता है कि आपने क्या किया है उसके लिए. तो हमने बोला कि ठीक है, हम एक काम करते हैं, कम से कम एक हॉस्पिटल खड़ा करते हैं जो 15 पेशेंट 20 पेशेंट को ट्रीट कर सकेगा, 15 पेशेंट. एंड सिंस आई यूज्ड टू हैव, मुझे मेरे पास काफी 50% of my practice was always poor patients, which I used to try and treat them at low cost, no cost, ask management in a corporate hospital to put them into some category. So here I got this opportunity. I said, fine, लोगों को जमा करते हैं, लोगों को बोलते हैं यार इसका ट्रीटमेंट स्पॉन्सर कर. And somehow we started in 2007. 2007 we made some building there on that plot. And then we said, fine, what to do. Then in those days, since I was from Tata Hospital, a lot of my friends at Tata Hospital, my seniors, my colleagues, friends. So one of the very close friend is Dr. Badwe, Dr. Rajendra Badwe. He's been my friend for a very, very long time. So Dr. Badwe, even Dr. Praful Desai was my boss in Tata Hospital. So Dr. Praful Desai also, I took him there. Then he said, good, very nice and all that. Then Dr. Badwe said, Sanjay, why don't you do one thing? You get one radiotherapy unit. So I said, how to get a radiotherapy unit? It is very costly. So he said, there is the grant available. Why don't you give me a letter? So he said, okay, fine. You just write a letter. In 2008, I wrote a letter and then I gave it to him. 2009, Badwe became director of Tata Hospital. Now, I was very happy. My friend became director of Tata Hospital. So I just said, fine. And Rajan is very close friend. So I had invited him to Latur also for the meeting. Then he said, Sanjay, काय रे तुझं कसं काय चाललंय? I said, okay, good, going on well. We were really struggling. And then suddenly I got a call from Department of Atomic Energy saying that कि आपका वो 1.85 crore आपका ट्रांसफर करना है, तो कौन सा अकाउंट नंबर है? I thought that is a fish, some odd call. I just kept the phone down. Again उसका फोन आया कि अरे वो आपके 1.85 करोड़ देने हैं आपको. ऐसे नहीं, आप मुझे, आप गलत है, मेरा नंबर अलग है, आप किसको फोन कर रहे हैं? बोला नहीं नहीं, आप डॉक्टर देशमुख हैं. हाँ, आप कोई अलग डॉक्टर देशमुख को फोन, मुझे कोई 1.85 करोड़ लेने नहीं है. बोला नहीं डॉक्टर साहब ऐसा मत करो, ये मार्च का लास्ट मंथ है, 5 दिन ही बचे हुए, मुझे ये ट्रांसफर करना ही पड़ेगा. सो आपका अकाउंट नंबर बोलिए. बोला ये क्या हो रहा है यार ये. So I said, wait a minute, call me after half an hour. Then I called up Badwe and I said that Rajan, somebody is calling me to transfer 1.85 crore from Department of Atomic Energy. What is this? He said, Are you applied for this? I said, when? He said, you gave me that application. That was the application. I put it into the Department of Atomic Energy. And that's how we got the first our radiotherapy machine. And then it all became very serious. Because suddenly we realized that कि जब तक वो ऐसा चल रहा था कि अच्छा चलो हो सकता है तो हो जाएगा, नहीं होगा तो ठीक है, हमने कोशिश की यार, नहीं कर सके, क्या करेंगे अभी. लेकिन suddenly it became like, suddenly this 1.85 crore, and that is for machine. Around 8 crore you require, 1.75 crore you require for your bunker and other facilities. So we took a loan. And then we realized that, okay, we have to now take this project very seriously, and we established a radiotherapy unit. Now, after establishing radiotherapy unit, there are 3 more units which were in the town already, and they were running well. So why patients should come to Anand? So because we had to charge something, we used to charge them 10,000 rupees. So I went to Sassoon Hospital. They said, no, हम नहीं भेजेंगे आपके पास. I said, अरे हम जिनको फ्री करना है उनको फ्री कर सकते. नहीं, हम ये हमको गांव में नजदीक होता है. It is closer to us. So I said, okay, fine, let's kind of treat whatever. We still used to treat around 10-15 patients every day. And then came one scheme which floated by government, which was that time known as Rajiv Gandhi scheme. And then afterwards it was Mahatma Phule. And that scheme actually gave us very decent amount, which gave around 20 20,000 rupees per patient for radiation. And that's how suddenly it became a compulsory for all government people to send patients to us. Suddenly we started having 60 patients. And then we were already operating, we were doing surgeries. So surgeries increased. At one point of time, we realized that from suddenly 10 beds to 15 beds to 40 beds, the number of staff. So all that transition happened in 2013. And somewhere around 2015-16, we realized that we were the highest center doing number of patients in the Pune district. And for cancer treat, all this is all diseases. We were only doing a cancer treatment, but it was statistics for all diseases for that scheme, that is treating patients free. And then we, in 2018, we realized that number of patients, 2016 only we realized that we require another machine. So, but still we thought that we cannot really go to people and ask money. So we said, okay, fine, और एक लोन लेंगे, लोन तो लेने की तब तक हमको समझ गया था कि चलो यार लोन ले सकते हैं. And then we took another loan, and that loan was we took that loan for 8 crore rupees. And then we thought कि 8 crore में अपने को पूरा machine बिठाना है with bunker के साथ. So then we realized that we were scouting for a machine. Then we realized there's a Chinese company which actually makes almost similar machine, which is available for double the price, US. And that's how actually we got our first linear accelerator. Then we, in 2018-19, we realized that that also is not sufficient. We have to have a third machine, because now there are more than 100 patients on the treatment couch every day. Recently, there are 125 patients, which is probably highest number in Pune right now. Most of the centers are treating much less, around 70-80 patients per day on a radiation therapy. The number of surgeries are around 80 to 90. And we this all became because the most of the team which was with me in Ruby Hall, they 3-4 people who became senior, they transferred to my Indrayani Hospital team, and that team also became bigger and bigger. And then medical oncology started becoming bigger. So now our present wish is to have a project which is pediatric cancer unit. We want to have pediatric and hematology cancer. So this is another area which I say that no one wants to do, because this is generally a lot of patients who are blood cancers are poor patients, and जहाँ पे पैसा नहीं मिलेगा वहाँ से कौन जाएगा? So it is very tough to treat them. So देखते हैं ये, so this is something which is now I feel that we should do. उसके लिए हमने अभी एक first we formed a team of medical oncologists and hematologists and pediatric cancer. So you require first the experts, then you require good infrastructure staff. So we are actually now training our nurses to Tata Hospital. I told Dr. Badwe that we want to train 4 staff for the pediatric cancer. He said, fine. So somewhere in August or September, this is August now, September, we should send our staff to Tata Hospital for 2 weeks to 3 weeks training, and then we will start this unit. So this is a little bit of fast forward into my journey of Indrayani Hospital.
Fantastic. No, Sanjay ji, your passion is very contagious. Actually, the way when you tell that story, we can actually see it in your voice. We can see it in your eyes that you have actually put your heart into this. When we were there at the hospital, we did see the construction for the third machine actually going on. That bunker was being constructed at that time. Dr. Saab, how many of these 125 patients actually come from the government scheme, and how many of them are patients?
90% or more than 90%. 90% patients are free patients. 95% patients are free. 5% people are now presently are coming from the town. 5 to 10. That number is increasing in last 3 months. What is happening is that because of COVID time, there has been a quite of economic issues with middle class, and I feel that is the reason we are getting a lot of, again we have been as a standalone center for cancer, so we are not being given a responsibility for COVID management. So our beds are not given to COVID. So again, that also probably a reason. A few patients, but more than 90% are free patients.
Right. So, Dr. Saab, if you can conclude by sharing with us what your vision for Indrayani is. You've already talked about adding a pediatric and hematology section, but beyond that, what's the vision that you have?
Yes, I'll say that see what actually makes this center good. How does one make a good cancer center functioning? There are two, three arms to this. One very important is that obviously treatment arm, which you should have very good and standardized treatment, which have to be done without any compromise. So that is we have to achieve. So like suppose if you're doing surgery, it should not be substandard. It should be same standard what anybody will get anywhere, any part of the world. That is one. Chemotherapy if I'm doing, I hope that that is something which is reachable and is done now. Now, then question comes is that how that can be sustainable for longer time. So what really sustains is not me. It will be a team. How team can be built, because when you have, when I will have students which will keep on coming under me. Now I have students under in Ruby Hall. Now same infrastructure, if I put it into Alandi, and then radiation people will have their own students, surgical students, there will be medical oncology. For that, you need to have certain kind of infrastructure that I hope to build in another maybe 1.5, 2 years. And that will make it very, very standard of care. And that will really drive it further. Now, another thing which we started just recently is epidemiology department. It is actually a department which takes surveys of all the areas around and defines what is the need of that area. कि इसमें क्या जरूरत है ये एरिया की, कौन सा कैंसर ज्यादा आने वाला है, कौन सा ये है, what are the trends of treatment. So that is another department. We are making it stronger. We started it 8 months back, and that is one department which we are actually pushing it further. Now presently, because of COVID, epidemiology is a known word to everyone, but this is a very, very important thing which tells us how the things will really shape up.
Fantastic.
So,
Dr. No, it's
So-
a wonderful vision to have. I think, as you said, to make the hospital, sometimes people think that charitable means a different standard. I think you're taking that completely out of the picture, and you're looking at how we can further make it a world-class global facility for everyone. I think that's that inclusiveness, that sharing, that is part of the ethos of this group, the vision of this group. And we are truly blessed to know you, to be associated with you, and to have you today on our session. Thank you so much for your time.
Questions if you want, because I can see a lot of questions here, and I can actually you can take them. So
thank you. So kind of you. Thank you. So kind of you. Actually, I took most of the questions. There are a couple of them which I can add now. There was a question about how is the cancer treatment different in India versus other countries? Is there
I always say India
very
में,
big difference?
या इंडिया में दो इंडिया है अपने पास. एक इंडिया है जो कुछ भी अफोर्ड कर सकता है. You can say and they will afford. They will have no reason to say anything. There is another part of India which does not have anything. It does not have anything. It is that India which keeps me worrying that we have to, and that is very large part of India. If unfortunately Indian governments in last all these years have not invested in healthcare at all. So ये जो gap है, ये gap बहुत बड़ी हुई है. All diseases, even like in the present day of COVID, you can see COVID treatment in a government hospitals and COVID treatment in private hospitals. So there is a vast difference. Similarly, this is happening for years together in cancer. So I am trying to do my bit of trying to treat every patient who comes, absolutely the same way I'll treat in Ruby Hall. Now, since I work in a best of the setups which I've been part of that setup, uh, and I can actually duplicate that effort into my uh, completely charitable setup. So it is a little easy for me because I try and squeeze people. अगर मुझे लगता है तो मैं किसी दोस्त को बोलता हूँ, अरे मुझे इतना एक इसके पेशेंट के लिए 70-80 हज़ार रुपए चाहिए, so he can give it. And then we know that people can do that. We have that kind of way of doing it. So I try and do that more and more often. So yes, but otherwise treatment in US and India is not different at all.
Correct. So in terms of the facilities, मेरे ख्याल से availability है, पर मेरे ख्याल से affordability probably is different for different sections of the society. There is another question which uh, we have here is if there is some kind of research going on which can cure the cancer completely, even almost like a vaccine, that if you have this, then you can block the cancer or you can cure the cancer like a panacea. You have one dose and done.
Yes. See, as a human, actually, we want to live forever. Every one of us wants to have kind of, no one wants to die. But we have to understand that we have been programmed, and that whole cell is programmed to have its own death. So yes, we cannot have this, and that will not be really possible. So what can be possible is that we'll probably have answers to most of the cancers. We will be able to treat them well. We'll have longevity is already increased to the average years have been increasing, adding to our life. So we'll probably keep on increasing to 90 years of average age of death, which is itself is a quite a bit of a thing. But yes, it is being said that people who do this forecasting, they say that a child which is born in 2030 will have a life of 160 years. So I don't know. Yeah, that is what they say, that the actual human computer will really crash that time. So that is what is being estimated by people who look at the future. Most of the cancer cures will keep on coming over these coming 8 to 10 years, and they will be more simplified, better. Treatment will not be as bad as before. So, yes.
Right. So we'll just take two more questions, Dr. Saab, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
There's a question about, you highlighted the importance of being stress-free and how that is crucial to us as a prevention for cancer. How does stress impact us? Does it reduce the immunity of the body? How does it make us more susceptible to cancer?
So I have seen this very commonly, and you will not really find a very measurable way of stress onto cancer. It is very difficult to measure how stress will give your different monitors, immune monitors, which will turn against you. But yes, this has been known that your emotional stress, which definitely is one of the factor to increase your cancer incidence. But yes, it is not measurable. It is not measurable, so it cannot be really be taken as a factor into the real sense. So there will be some immune markers which we'll probably be able to know, and will be able to count on them. So yes, another thing which is actually, I can see there's one question about the prostate cancer. Prostate cancer, we have to understand that prostate cancer does not, I'm taking this question without you asking me, but
No, absolutely. That was the last question I was going to ask. Please go ahead, Doctor.
Yes, prostate cancer does not happen, normally does not happen below 60. Okay, so after 40, definitely it is not, but you can very easily do a sonography if you're worried. which is very easy investigation to do, and that can detect if there is any early nodule into the prostate. PSA as such as a screening way for prostate cancer has been abandoned, because what happened in US is that whenever PSA was raised, the sonography was done. Sonography was done, you can find some nodule. Then you have a gun, do a biopsy. When you do a biopsy, you will find a very early kind of prostate cancer, and then do a radical prostatectomy by a robo. The robos in the United States, number of robo installations went up to probably 3,500 or something like that, because robotic prostatectomy became a standard of care. And then people realized that why there is sudden such an incidence of prostate surgery. US is one of the very standard nation which will do things and will again analyze later and will say, "Arey yaar, ye to galat ho gaya." And then they realize that probably doing PSA is wrong. And that actually is pushing people to prostate surgery, which will never occur to them. So, so it is something which we have to understand, that sometimes unnecessary investigations will lead you to a path of unnecessary procedures. But yes, if prostate cancer is not again a hereditary cancer, so nothing to be worried about that.
Great. But Dr. Sir, that was a very interesting point, that cause and effect can be sometimes other way around, right? We think something is the cause and something else is the effect, but the effect can sometimes be the cause itself. In this case, the treatment could be the cause itself. So, Dr. Sir, thank you for explaining such an important, difficult, and sensitive topic in simple words. I'll invite Viraj to give a vote of thanks before we conclude.
Yeah, so thank you, Prad. Actually, I have say no words to kind of express how we can thank Dr. Deshmukh today, because it was such a wonderful and insightful session for all of us, and we learned a lot. Actually, we have all the say participants here, and all their families will be taking this knowledge forward. And Dr. Sab, you are inspiration for us from your work in the Indrayani. So obviously, I'm from Pune, but living in Delhi, would like to come and visit the hospital whenever we get the time. Thank you very much, and salute to your work, Dr. Saab. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Samir. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.